It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change. A real change. A real change.
After 9 years of Trudeau, everything is broken. Everything is broken. Because he is a weak leader who has lost control.
The fact is, the Liberals are too weak.
Laying out the facts, moving forward in constructive ways. This is a relationship that we know takes a certain amount of working on, and that's what we'll do.
He's been Prime Minister for 9 years.
The political scene in Canada is getting heated, and everyone is wondering if an early election is around the corner. Justin Trudeau's government is balancing political turbulence and economic pressure, leaving Canada's future hanging in the balance.
We are on a clear path to reach 2% in the coming years because we know that the world is changing and Canada, along with our allies, needs to be ready for it.
From the internal party disputes to a high cost of living, which is making life difficult for Canadians, Justin Trudeau's position has never been more threatened. In addition, an unstable alliance with the NDP and an increasing dissatisfaction among voters. This begs the question, could a quick election be the solution to this mess? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the twists and turns of Canadian politics. Canada's political history is marked by early elections having unique outcomes that show the risks and rewards for leaders daring enough to call them. A significant example is the early election in 2008, which was called by Stephen Harper.
Exciting place for me as a Canadian than to go north. We've got real sovereignty and security challenges up there. We've got some environmental and social issues to deal with as well. But look, this is our frontier. This is what has defined us as Canadians, and we're determined as a government that we are going to make this country genuinely the true north, strong and free.
At that time, his government was faced with a lack of support in the parliament, which made him seek a stronger mandate. But his plans did not work out as he had hoped. He returned to power with another minority government gaining a little ground, while exposing his party to intense criticism and scrutiny. This decision demonstrated that although early elections might promise political stability, there are several risks associated, including voter backlash for perceived opportunism. Justin Trudeau is now standing at a similar crossroads. His minority government, which is affected by strained alliances, scandals, and constant instability, might be in his control once again if an early election is called. In the midst of all this turbulence are the struggles of the Liberal Party and the constant momentum of the Conservative opposition, which are currently threatening the political trajectory of the country. There have been reports of increasing frustration among the members of the Liberal Party and information about a potential change in leadership. Rumors suggest that at least 20 Liberal members of Parliament have stated their lack of confidence in Justin Trudeau, which shows that he is facing pressure from both his party and his opposition. The Liberals' reliance on the NDP under the Confidence and Supply Agreement has also become a double-edged sword. While the agreement has allowed Trudeau's minority government to cling to power, it has left the Liberals vulnerable to the decisions of NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. Singh's potential willingness to withdraw support, especially once he secures his parliamentary pension eligibility, poses a significant risk to the Liberals' survival. This can serve as a turning point, especially because he will gain the freedom to consider the NDP's support for the Liberals without risking his financial stability. As the Liberal Party seems unstable, the leader Pierre Poilievre is getting more popular. His belief focused on affordability and the struggles faced by Canadians every day is something new voters can agree with.
Canadians are hungry. Literally, according to the Food Bank's Canada report, 50% of Canadians say they're worse off than a year ago. 25% are in food insecurity, and a quarter of young adults went to a food bank in 3 months alone this year.
The Conservatives are not just riding a wave of public dissatisfaction, but they are also strategically preparing for a quick election. Their campaign modality has already begun, with targeted messaging and mobilization efforts already put in place. The timing of Singh's decision is very critical. If Singh withdraws his support from Justin Trudeau, it can trigger an early election which can alter the political landscape of Canada.
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the Supply and Confidence Agreement. Canadians are fighting a battle, a battle for the future of the middle class.
The NDP, on the other hand, might decide to withdraw their support, and the consequences could be diverse. First of all, the Liberals would struggle to pass important legislation without the backing of the NDP, especially about the upcoming budget. This can result in a vote of no confidence, forcing Canadians to vote earlier than expected. Also, an early election would probably benefit Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, who already capitalized on economic frustrations and dissatisfactions with Justin Trudeau. On the bright side, withdrawing support can allow the NDP to stay away from the failures of the Liberal government. This can help them to consolidate their base and appeal to voters that seek a progressive alternative. However, this plan comes with a risk of losing political positions if the political tide turns against them. Justin Trudeau's political tenure has been marked by several high-profile foreign policy initiatives, but recently these efforts have backfired. One of the most significant changes is the collapse of Canada's relationship with India. What was once a strategic partnership is now a full-blown diplomatic crisis.
As the RCMP Commissioner stated earlier, they have clear and compelling evidence that agents of the Government of India have engaged in and continue to engage in activities that pose a significant threat to public safety. This includes clandestine information gathering techniques, coercive behavior targeting South Asian Canadians, and involvement in over a dozen threatening and violent acts, including murder.
The effect of the expulsion of diplomatic and escalating tensions tarnished Canada's global standing. This has not only made Justin appear weak to the world, but has also caused consequences in the country, especially among the Indo-Canadian community.
President Biden and I are going to be, fairly clear with President Lopez Obrador that this needs to be understood as a way to help Mexico develop, a way to continue to draw in investments from companies in Canada and the United States in what we want to see as real growth for Mexican people.
Another area where his foreign policy is unstable is in dealings with the United States and Mexico. Agreements like the New York American trade deal were made to strengthen the bond between the three nations and improve the economic position of Canada. However, Justin Trudeau's handling of negotiations has been under criticism for a lack of strategy, and now there are rumors of the United States considering cutting ties with Mexico over certain trade matters. The spring budget scheduled to be presented in 2025 is starting to look like a defining condition in Canada's political landscape. The Prime Minister and his Liberal government are at a tipping point. If the government cannot secure the budget to be passed, it can lead to a chain of events. The budget is not just a financial document, but it is also a political lifeline for the ruling party. For Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the budget has to be passed for him to maintain power. Basically, the fate of his government depends on the approval of this one document. As Canada approaches the next elections, there are many issues that emerge which shape the political debate and will play a significant role in the upcoming election. First of all, for several Canadians, the increase in the cost of living is the most pressing issue. Housing prices continue to rise, and many Canadians are unable to afford a home. Aside from this, the cost of everyday goods has also increased, making it more difficult for families to make ends meet. Under Justin Trudeau's leadership, the Liberal government has preferred long-term solutions to the country's challenges. The focus has always been on social policies like climate change action and affordable childcare, and Justin Trudeau has continuously spoken about these initiatives as the bedrock of his administration's legacy. Despite his emphasis on progressive policies, the current economic challenges have made it more difficult for the voters to believe him. In contrast, the Conservative Party and Pierre are focusing more on voter dissatisfaction by promising immediate relief. The platform focuses more on economic solutions aimed at battling inflation, providing more affordable housing options, and reducing taxes. In recent months, polling results have reviewed a change in the political sentiment in Canada. Because of Justin Trudeau's bad leadership, there has been a surge in support for the Conservative Party led by Pierre Poilievre, according to the polling data, in key areas like Alberta and Ontario. With several economic and political factors in mind, there are many scenarios that can be considered as Canada gets closer to a possible early election. Based on the polling results, public sentiment and the changes within the Liberal government, the early election can unfold in different ways. One possible outcome is that the Liberals might manage to recover some of their lost support through a delay in the election. If Trudeau can successfully pass the spring budget and stabilize his position within the party, he might be able to fight off the demand for an early election. This scenario will probably involve the Liberals focusing on major economic policies and hoping that factors like global economic recovery can shift the public in their favor. Also, the Conservatives can continue capitalizing on the vulnerabilities of the Liberals. With an increase in public support, Poilievre can get an early election by promising the citizens immediate relief and economic reforms that address the concerns of the voters. By positioning himself as the savior and the voice of change, he can appeal to the Canadians who feel left behind by the current government, potentially leading to a shift in the landscape and the possibility of a Conservative majority. A third potential outcome can involve the withdrawal of support for the NDP for the Liberals. As the NDP and Jagmeet Singh continue to weigh their options, the possibility of a withdrawal from the confidence and supply agreement can be a catalyst for an early election. If Singh decides to pull the plug, the Liberals could find themselves unable to secure enough support in Parliament, forcing Trudeau to call a snap election. This would significantly alter the political landscape, as it would push the NDP into a more prominent role as a kingmaker or challenger. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.